Hi, I'm Janine and this is Janine Sews. On my channel, I talk about sewing a wardrobe for a woman over 50. Today I'm going to tell you about my 3 makes for Fabric Mart Fabrics Fabricista blog for the month of November. There have been a bunch of changes in life for me and for everybody over the last year and a half. When I quit working in an office in March 2010, I went home and just kind of lived in whatever clothes I had around. And when I worked, I always had kind of a work wardrobe. Big change. I'm hoping to go back to work, and that could be either in person or hybrid or working at home all the time. Also, I'm now in a colder climate, so I can no longer wear capri pants all the time or short sleeve shirts and a light jacket 12 months a year. So I'm having to look at my wardrobe and make clothes that will fit for either working in an office, working at home, living life generally in a colder climate. I have 3 makes this month, and I'm going to timestamp them in the description below, so if you want to skip to anything, you can. For each of these, I used fabric from Fabric Mart Fabrics, using fabrics that I picked out online, not from the swatch service. And I found that I was pretty easily able to pick colors that were true. Now, that could be that that's my monitor. It could also be that the pictures are just pretty clear. The first garment that I made is a lightweight fleece jacket that can be worn either at home, inside, or out on a not so cold day, or on a really cold day underneath a coat. And the pattern that I used is one that I've used a couple of times before, and that's Vogue 8676. This is a Marcy Tilton pattern that I bought a few years ago. And it's for either fleece or boiled wool, and you make a really simple jacket using raw edges, so you don't have to finish anything off. And I liked this because it's generally kind of a comfortable jacket, and it's got a couple of interesting features because it has the raw edges on the cuffs and on the collar. And it's just one of those jackets that I've worn a fair bit. It's easy to throw on if you're just running out for a few minutes, or even if it's just a chilly day. For this jacket, I picked this horizontal striped. It's a relatively lightweight fleece, very soft and cozy, and super warm considering that it's quite lightweight. I'm going to stick some pictures up so you can see it. It's got 3 buttons down the front, and it does not have an attachment at the collar. So they suggest, and I have used a pin that is my mom's that I borrowed, and I use that to just attach the collar at the top if I want to have the collar done up tight. You will see on the collar, these edges, those are just raw. And what I like about this is that because of the way the fabric is woven, it looks kind of interesting. You can see that there's some dimension there. So that's on the collar, and it's the same on the cuffs, just with that raw edge. So you don't need to have a serger or a cover stitch or anything for this fabric or for this pattern. I just used a ballpoint needle and regular thread, and it went together really quickly, and the fabric was nice to work with and to sew. Lined up, for matching the stripes, it lined up really well because on the wrong side, the stripes are a little more defined. So this is Vogue 8676 in lightweight fleece from Fabric Mart. The second piece that I made is the True Bias Lodo dress. This dress is very popular. It's been around for quite a while. Let's see, 2017 the pattern came out. And I've actually made this twice before. This is the third version of this that I've made in Ponte. And of course the Ponte is from Fabric Mart. And it's this beautiful royal blue color. Nice weight Ponte. It's got some stretch, and like all Pontes, it doesn't have a huge amount of stretch. Super comfortable for this style of dress, because this dress is a cocoon dress, so it's kind of shaped like this. And this time around, for the first time, I made the longer version of the dress, and it has quite a slit in the back, so it's really comfortable to walk in. This time of year, perfect with tights and boots. What's interesting about this dress is you make it out of the Ponte. Sorry, I've got a kitty who has clearly found a mouse. You make it out of the Ponte, or whatever knit you've chosen, and then use woven for the facing on the arm openings and on the neck. And I just grabbed something that I had that matched, and this is a quilting cotton. You may recall that I used this for my mom's walker bag before her birthday in the summer. So this is what I used for the facings. This is such an easy dress to put together. You don't need a serger, you don't need a cover stitch, ballpoint needle, regular thread. You just stitch it up really quickly, and because it's Ponte, you don't need to finish the seams. I just pinked the seams. I like this particular dress because it really goes through all 4 seasons. In the summer, you can wear it just as a dress without anything under it. In colder weather, like we're about to have, wear it with a long sleeve top, tights, and boots, and you're set. It's just like being in elementary school again. Dressed for the winter. It's kind of a winter uniform. So this is the True Bias Lodo dress in this very pretty royal blue Ponte. I want to add one more thing about the True Bias Lodo dress. I have actually done a high round back adjustment on it. Here's my little dart in the back, and I find that that really makes a big difference for me because it doesn't pull forward. Because the first time I made it, I didn't have the high round back adjustment, and I found it did kind of pull back a little bit. So I've done the high round back adjustment, and that made a big difference. And pinked seams. Piece number 3 is this top. This is the Somerset T from Maven Patterns. I saw this pattern about a year ago and really liked it for one reason, and that's the sleeves. These are bishop sleeves with a long cuff. I like a statement sleeve. I do not like having to put on a coat or a jacket and hanging on to the big wide sleeves with my thumbs while I try to get it into my sleeves so it's not all bunched up. So this is a wonderful compromise. There is a statement style sleeve with this nice long cuff, so if you want to put on a coat, and heck, it's almost winter, I'm going to be putting on coats. If you want to put on something, your sleeves stay on. And I just think it's a nice look, it's interesting. This fabric, well, you know I love London, and I also like things that are a little bit quirky. And this print with the little corgi dogs and Dalmatians and cups of tea and London cabs, it is unique enough to be interesting, but it's not crazy over the top. It's not childlike. So this is something I could probably wear to most offices. And it's, of course, something I'll wear around home. This is a really nice stretch cotton. I know that the fabric was gone from Fabric Mart. If I could buy more, I would, because I just loved it. And the pattern is actually designed to be close fitting, and I did not want it to be close fitting. So I cut the largest size on the pattern. I think that was an 18. And then I did a pivot and slide, adding a little bit to the bust because the bust wasn't too tight. And then I just had it skim my waist a little bit more. So I added 2 inches in circumference to the waist and about 3 inches in circumference to the hips so that it will just hang nicely. Used my regular sewing machine with a stretch needle, regular thread, and then I used the cover stitch for the neck and for the hem. And it went together pretty quickly. I know the next time it'll be super fast. I just hadn't used the pattern before. And I will say that Maven Patterns, the pattern instructions are extensive. Probably too extensive if you have any experience. However, at the very beginning of the instructions, she says, if you know what you're doing, here are the 7 steps. So you don't have to read through all of it if you've actually sewn before. If you've never sewn anything like this before, the instructions walk you through the whole thing perfectly. So these are my 3 makes for Fabric Mart Fabricista. And I do love shopping at Fabric Mart still, even though I will be shipping to Canada. But I just find it's a lot of fun to look online, and they always get interesting things. One interesting thing that I picked up this time around for these particular makes is these Kylie in the Machine labels that say Me Made. And they are so cute. I mean, just best way to top off something that you've made yourself, so you can remind yourself every time you put it on that you made it. And these are So those are my 3 makes for the Fabric Mart Fabricista blog. I made all of them in a week, and I didn't spend my whole life in the sewing room. They're all relatively easy makes. They don't take a great deal of time. They're not hugely complicated. So you can make each piece in an evening or 2 or on a Saturday or Sunday, not be chained to the sewing room. Great stuff for the coming cold weather. I want to thank Fabric Mart for the fabric, the thread, and the labels. And next up, there's a little snow on the ground right now. It's going to be gone by the end of the week. But snow is going to come and stay before too long. So I've got 2 things to make for my husband and then a robe to make for myself. And those are the high priority items at the moment. So that's probably what I'll work on next. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you're well, and I will see you really soon.